What's up, brothers? Hope everyone's doing well out there. I'm out here chilling this afternoon, and I'm about to hit the road and go back and visit some people I grew up around. So I'll be on the road for about 12 hours. I don't know if I'll bring my camera with me or not. Maybe I will. But I figured before I head out, I'll turn the camera on and I'll shoot the shit with you guys for a little while, so I don't leave you hanging. And what I wanted to talk about in today's video is, it's kind of a fork in the road for men, and it's a catch-22. And no matter which pathway you go down, it's going to be pretty hard. And that holds true for, I'd say, about 98% of men. Some guys have it all. They're lucky. 2% of guys, they just have it all. They grew up in a rich family, they're good looking, life is on easy mode. But for the other 98%, it's difficult. And that's because you got to choose one of these two paths. And the manosphere does a good job at explaining these two paths. The problem is, everyone's trying to sell you something, so they don't go over both the pros and the cons of both paths. Now, pathway number one is what the pickup artists will teach you. All the game guys, that's what they'll teach you. And their method is that you should get really good at talking to women. You should go out and live the pickup artist lifestyle, the alpha bad boy lifestyle, and hook up with as many women as possible, because all the money, all the status, and all that stuff is really the only purpose that it serves is to help you attract more women. That's what they'll tell you, right? So that's one path that you can choose. The other path is more the red pill, path. The you could even say Jordan Peterson path, to take it into the mainstream. And that's the pathway where you focus on your purpose and your wealth and, whatever it is that you want to turn yourself into, the self-development, the self-improvement path. Now, both of these paths sound like they're good, right? Getting more girls, getting laid more often is a good path. Making more money, accomplishing whatever it is in life that you want to accomplish, that's a good path. But they both have some major downsides, right? So the bad boy that's hooking up with the women at the club, well, typically, he's getting wage cucked during the week by the high value man, right? He's getting wage cucked. He goes into work on Monday, and the boss that he has that isn't really getting laid, isn't really having the success with the women, he tells him what to do. It's emasculating, right? The pickup artist lives an emasculating lifestyle when he steps back into reality away from the dating scene. When he steps back into his life and he views it from a perspective of, oh shit, this is what I'm doing with my life. I'm just out here partying, getting laid. Because let's face it, the women are at the party. If you want to be good with women, if you want to hook up with a lot of women, you got to be at the party. You have to be at the clubs. You have to be at the bars. It's just the way it is. Hot women like to party. Hot women are like the kids, like the children of celebrities. It's like a Paris Hilton or a Kardashian. Life's on easy mode. They're pretty. All they have to do is smile at a man and he's in love. So when you have that sort of a privilege in life, what do? You live it up, you party, you have fun. So I don't hold it against them. It's to be expected, right? So anyways, if you want to be a good pickup artist, that's the pathway that you have to go down. And you have to be at the party. Most of the time it requires that you're drinking a lot and you're just living that type of a lifestyle. And that's going to cause you to fail in the other areas. Now here's the thing about the other path. Almost every man at some point in his life chooses this other path. Some guys are more mature and they choose it at 20. Some guys at 30, some guys at 40. Some guys, some guys end up dead or in jail, and they never quite accomplish it, right? But eventually, most guys mature up a little bit, and they say, okay, partying with the girls, doing all this shit, it's not really worth it anymore. So what they do is they cut all the bullshit, right? No more clubbing, no more partying, no more whatever substances they're using. And the problem is when they quit doing that, when they get disciplined and say, I'm going to focus on my career, I'm going to focus on my physique, maybe I'm going to focus on the God Almighty, whatever, right? But they decide they're going to level up, they're going to straighten out, and they're going to accomplish some things. Well, all the hot women are still at the party. They're still there. They're not coming with you. They're still at the party. So you accomplish all of these things and you find yourself in this predicament. And the predicament is all the women, you know, when they want to go out and they want to have a good time and they want to get a good rogering, they're going to the club and they're hooking up with the bad boys. So where do you slip in? You know, where do you find your way? How are you going to find the women? And not just women, friends, right? All the friends you used to hang out with, they're still at the party. But you're eating healthy. You're going to bed, sleeping 8 hours. You're spending the other 16 hours grinding and working, making something of yourself. And contrary to what people tell you, you don't just accomplish a bunch of things and all of a sudden the women are right there. They're all coming with you. No, at best, you can fly them out on some sugar daddy type shit. But like I said, when they want a good rogering, they're going to the club to meet up with the hot alpha bad boy. And the high value man ain't even on the game board. That's the shitty part. So it kind of leaves you in this predicament where you can get with women that have been at the clubs partying all the time, and eventually they make a decision that they don't want these alpha bad boys anymore. But that's not going to sit well with most guys. With most guys, you're going to say, well, look, this girl's been around the block too many times. I'm just not really interested. You might go for some younger women. I'm telling you, most older man, younger woman relationships are built around sugar baby type shit. You know, it's the truth. Some women are better at hiding it than others, but usually when you see a 20-year-old chick with a, 40-something-year-old man, something's going on there, and it ain't love. I'll put it like that. You know, there is a pathway that you can take, especially if you're a young guy. And this one's very difficult and honestly kind of dangerous nowadays with the way that the divorce court is and the way the system is. But that is to find yourself, your high school sweetheart, your young girl that has the same hobbies as you, you're the same age, and you go through life together on the same page. That's nice. But it's difficult to accomplish that. You have to find a woman that was really raised right by her mother and her father, and she really has a good head on her shoulders. And in this day and age, I'll put it like this: I live in the Bible Belt, Oklahoma. Yeah, I've been to New York, I've been to California, I've been to Miami, I've been to Las Vegas, Sin City. Right now, I live in the Bible Belt, and guess what? There's a weed shop on every corner. There's a liquor store on every corner. There's a strip club on every other block. There's nightclubs all over the place. It's everywhere. Chances of finding a good, pure, nice, virtuous person to be friends with or to be in a relationship with are few and far between in this day and age. Especially with women. And a lot of people, they think that I'm trying to, throw shade at women or something like that. And that's not what we do here. We just like to speak honestly. So, let's take a trip to fairy tale land for a minute here. As a man Imagine you walked into a bar, you walked into a club, and you took your shirt off. And all the women were just throwing money at you and telling you you're the biggest stud in the world. You're such a stud, right? And you walk out of that club with $700 and all these women wanting to go home with you. That'd be great, wouldn't it? All right, well, let's snap back to reality. Now, out of fantasy land. Because that's fantasy land for a man. But for a woman, that's reality. For a woman, that's literally what happens. If she's above a 6 in looks, when she walks into a club, that's the way it is. Men worship her, they all want her. When she walks into the party, she can literally get paid to party. You know, think of a woman that's a stripper. What's a stripper do? She shows up at a bar or a club, dances to music, gets drunk, gets worshipped by men, and leaves with a couple $1,000. That'd be the life, wouldn't it? I mean, you get what I'm saying. Get worshipped by the opposite sex and get paid for it. That's the reality, and it's not. I don't see things changing anytime soon. I don't see things going back to the way they were. You know, I know a lot of traditional conservatives think that it will. They want it to, but I don't think it's going to. As a man, it's a tough path. You ever watch the show Tales from the Crypt? Tales from the Crypt. You know, for me, I'm 38 years old, so it's a nostalgic show. When I see the Crypt Keeper, it's nostalgic for me. When I was a little kid, late at night on HBO, it used to come on. There was an episode that always pops in my head, and it was called The Switch. And in this episode, you had an old man. He was like 70 years old. And he had a situation going on with a young woman. And he walked into her apartment, and he brought a bouquet of flowers with him, handed them to her, and he said, "I want to marry you." And she looked at him and she said, "Oh, you treat me so well. You're so kind to me. But I just can't do it. You're so old. You're old enough to be my grandfather." And he says, "I'll do whatever it takes." And he goes to this weird laboratory, and the doctor in there says, "I can give you a young face." And he goes through a procedure that costs $1 million, and he swaps faces with a young man. And he walks back into the woman's apartment and he says, "I've done it. Now I look like a young man." And she looks at him and she says, "Yeah, you look like a young man. You're very handsome, but look at your body. It's still old and decrepit." So he goes back to the laboratory, and the doctor says, "Yeah, sure, I can give you arms and a midsection and pecs of a bodybuilder." So now he takes the midsection, the torso, and the arms of the young man, and that costs him $2 million. And he meets up with the girl, and he's working out, he's lifting weights, he's got his shirt off, and she's checking him out. She's all excited by him. And he says, "Let's go take a swim." And she says, "Okay, that sounds like fun." And he changes out his sweatpants and puts on a pair of trunks. And she looks at his legs. And she says, "Your legs, they're still old and decrepit." So he knows what this means. And he goes back to the laboratory. And he spends $3 million, the final $3 million that he has. He says, "Why $3 million?" And the doctor says, $1 million for each limb, if you catch my drift. And Hans, the body that he's taking it from, is packing. So you're going to be doing pretty good, right? So he spends his final $3 million and gets the lower body of a young, hot bad boy. So from head to toe, he looks like a young, hot bad boy. And he shows back up at the girl's apartment, and he finds out she's moved out. And he said, well, where'd she go? And they say she's living somewhere uptown. I'll give you the address. He gets the address and he pulls up to her new home. And come to find out, she's married Hans, who now looks like an old man, an old geezer, decrepit and disgusting. He's a disgusting, decrepit old man with $5 million. And she says, look, I just need a man with financial means. So now he's broke and he looks like a young, hot bad boy. But the woman has decided she no longer wants a young, hot bad boy. Now she's looking for a rich man. And that's, that was something that came out in like 1989, 1990. It's like kind of a horrifying ending. The Hans dude just starts laughing, and you see the look on the other guy's face, and it's sad to watch. But, it was an older show, long before there was any manosphere or any red pill or whatever. There was a really good lesson to be learned in that, and that is that you really can't have it all. Sure, when women are young, they're going to want the bad boys. When they get older, they're probably going to want the rich guys. And if you spend too much time being a bad boy, you're never going to become a rich guy. And if you totally skip over that bad boy phase to focus on your purpose in your career, you're never going to get to experience those women. When they're young, hot, and fresh. Kind of sucks, but, it's the way it is. It's the cold, hard reality. And as much as guys in the manosphere want to say, well, men are the prize. Men are the real prize. We're bigger, we're stronger, we're better at mechanics and whatnot. Well, guess what? Men are still battling it out, going to war, going through hell, in hopes of getting a woman. I remember when I was, I think probably 19 years old, before I had met the girlfriend that I was with in my 20s. I remember me and a truck full of guys showed up at a party. And we walked in, a typical house party in the mid-2000s. Couple kegs of beer in the kitchen, loud music playing, people in the living room dancing and, wilding out. One bedroom, isolated off. Somebody must be hunting out there. For the smokers, one bedroom designated for the smokers. It was a big house. They were renting out a big house, a few people living there. Anyways, we get there, and my friend that drove the truck, as soon as we walk in, a girl greets him and says, hey, my friend was having some problems with her boyfriend, and she wants to get laid. A few minutes later, they're out in his truck. He's out there in the truck with her. They're getting wild. I'm there having a beer, and I notice there's some girl staring at me. Some, cute 19-year-old girl staring at me, checking me out. And, I'm just talking, chilling with people. Some time goes by, she's still checking me out. So after a few drinks, I go over and talk to her. And we find our way into the laundry room. She jumps up on the dryer, starts taking her clothes off. Somebody opens up the door, and it happens to be her brother. And next thing we know, a big fight breaks out. My group is in a big fight against their group. We're all out in the front yard fist fighting and shit. We ended up leaving because the guy that the guy that was her brother was real close to the person that lived there, so we decided we would leave. And looking back on a situation like that, you think about it. Think about the lady, the life of a lady, and how much of the prize she actually is in the eyes of men. So the reason why I bring up that situation is because her brother and his friends were willing to put their lives on the line and fight for her honor. And my group, maybe not by our own choice, we were kind of forced to fight for the girl, for the honor, to get honor. That's kind of corny, but you get what I'm saying. So in her eyes, she's got these guys over here, that care about her and want to, watch over her and protect her. And you got these guys over here that want to hook up with her, or that maybe she wants to hook up with them. But they're all willing to put it on the line to get her, to save the princess. That's sort of a reality for women out there. Men don't have that same reality. We have quite the opposite. We have to get out there and scratch and claw and try to make something happen. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And throughout the process, when you make the decision that you want to switch over from being the bad boy alpha pickup artist type, which most guys do want to be in high school or in college in their early 20s, if you want to make that switch to be a quote-unquote high-value man, you have to give up all those vices. And most of those friends and all those women that were a distraction, that were in the way, preventing you from becoming a high-value man. And once you get there, you realize it's not as pretty as you thought it was. There's still going to be a lot of struggle going on there. You may be more attractive. In theory, your dating pool might seem like it's bigger because you have more options. But in reality, your dating pool is smaller because you're not even on the game board anymore. You're not at the clubs. You're not at the party where the girls are at. But if you do like me, I've met all my girlfriends either at the gym or at church. Actually, one from work, one from the gym, and one at church. My 3 long-term relationships that I've been in. Hopefully we don't make it 4. We're on a good track. And the reason why I say that is because when you meet somebody that has a hobby that's similar to yours or a lifestyle that's similar to yours, it can be pretty easy to make it work. It's easy to get caught up in this red pill, high-value man, hypergamy shit. And you think, well, as long as she looks up to me and as long as she thinks she can't do better than me, she'll never leave me. Well, hell have no fury like a woman scorned. When a woman looks at you and thinks you're too good for her, or thinks you think you're too good for her, that's going to make her feel little. And after X amount of time goes by, she's going to get frustrated. She's going to get frustrated because she knows other women want you. She's going to get frustrated because, she's in a position where she thinks she can't do better than you, so she becomes powerless. So eventually, in a situation like this, she's going to want some revenge. She's going to want some get back for all those times that she felt small when she was with you. She's going to go screw somebody else. She's going to divorce you, or she's going to, seen it happen before. That's what happens when you run high-value man game on women. They'll take it for a little while. They'll take some free shit and some money. Once they get bored of it, or once they get tired of it, they're going to go get a good Rogerin from somebody else. And you're going to find out the hard way. But when you have a solid relationship, couples that pray together stay together. Couples that lift together stay together. When you have solid hobbies that you can bond on and you have a lifestyle that brings you closer together, that's typically where the good families come from and the good relationships come from. All right, guys, I got to hit the road, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this one off. But I hope this video was somewhat informative. that's about it for today, guys. Until next time, see ya.